Dear Sheldon, you asked the intriguing question, is Czech similar to Italian, Spanish, or English? That's a very complicated question, and a very good one, in fact. My initial response would be no. The sound is very, very different. Much closer to Russian or Polish. And the way you use the words is very complicated in a quite different way. Every noun, adjective, pronoun, or numeral that you use must undergo what is called declension. This means that according to whether you are calling someone, pointing to something, doing something to someone, referring to a point in time, etc., you must modify the word accordingly using a complex system of suffix changes. I will give you an example. For instance, the word woman must be said differently depending on how you are saying it. Let's see here. I will take you through, step by step, through the word woman and the 7 different ways that you could use the word to indicate a different meaning. Just a sec, I dropped my paper. Alright, if I were just to say the word woman, normally I would say žena. If I wanted to say that I was going from the woman, I would say od ženy. If I said that I was going to the woman, I would say k ženě. If I said that I had a gift for the woman, I would change the word to say pro ženu. If I were calling after the woman because I wanted her to hear me and return to me, I would say ženo. If I wanted to say that I was talking about the woman, I would say o ženě. And if I wanted to say that I was with the woman, I would say s ženou. So, as you can see, it's very complicated. Thankfully, one big difference between Czech and English, which actually makes it quite similar to Spanish or Italian, is that Czech follows a very clear set of guidelines and generally doesn't stray too far outside of them, meaning it doesn't have a whole lot of exceptions. So once you have sort of a general grasp of the rules of the Czech language, you can pretty much count on most of the language following the rules, unlike English, where you have to face the fact that much of what we say is an exception to some sort of rule. So, that is a huge difference between Czech and the Romantic languages you mentioned. Another big difference is that there is less of a need for articles or prepositions because the prepositions themselves are indicated by the nouns. I don't need to say that I have a gift for the woman because the word for is implied in the suffix change of the word woman. I know this is very complicated, and it took me many years to actually get the hang of it and understand what was happening. Hopefully, it will take less long for you. So, however, all this to say, there are many huge differences between the Czech language and the Italian or Spanish languages, even English. But there is a huge similarity between Czech and Latin. In Latin, there is also declension. There are many cases which must be learned by heart, just like in Czech. And as we all know, Latin and the Romantic languages are very similar. You will find several Latinate root words within the language, which even are recognizable for an English speaker. So there is a relation. The Czech language was given a huge boost in the medieval days by the Greek missionary of the 9th century called Methodius. This was a man of the Byzantine Empire. So and a man of the church, so the Latin language was a huge deal for him. And he took the Czech language, or what was sort of the beginnings of the Czech language, into hand and shaped what was already there by providing some hard and fast ground rules and modifying their alphabet. Since Latin was a big thing for him, like I already mentioned, many of the rules are modeled after it. When you visit my home in the Czech Republic, I can take you up the mountain, which has a beautiful wooden church dedicated to this missionary, Methodius, and his brother Cyril, who invented the Cyrillic alphabet, still popular in Eastern Europe. This has been a lesson in language history by Lucy Rose Abigail Thill. Goodbye.